Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk about this week's episode of The Flash. So it opens with Nora taking on Hart, the original Godspeed, in 2049. She's chasing him down. And she herself gets knocked down. And then Bart shows up and phases right through Hart, taking him out, saving Nora, who then sort of turns around and gives him a hard time because by phasing through Hart like that, he risked getting stuck in there, and that would have been horrible, and yada, yada, yada. While they're having that conversation, Hart gets up and takes off and goes to the Flash Museum, where he gets on the cosmic treadmill and heads back to 2021, which is what caused him to appear there a couple of weeks ago on the show. And of course, Nora and Bart chase him there and show up in 2021 at the start of this episode. So they meet the team again, and I say again because they've met them all in the future. You know, Chester, Caitlin, Cecile, and all those people. They know them already. So it's kind of funny. Iris is absent again from this episode at this point, a few minutes in. And it's like, really? Again with this? I mean, we know why they came up with that story, but like, anyway, the Godspeeds attack, and Barry tells the kids it's time to go to work. So they're about to all head out to deal with it. And the ring comes out, guys. The ring with the costume in it. He puts it on his finger and they do a close-up. And I was like, ee. Why? Because that's from the comic and I love the ring. I think the ring is awesome. They didn't show him put the costume on after it ejects from the ring, which was disappointing, but they did show the ring, which is very cool. So the three of them are going at the Godspeeds. When the Godspeeds realize Bart is there, they all chase after him, even though Barry and Nora are trying to lead some of them in different directions behind them. And they say stuff like, we must stop I forget what they call him. We must stop, I forget what they call him, the nemesis or the adversary, something like that. And he manages to avoid getting taken down by them, which is cool because I guess they disappear when they have to recharge. So after that happens, they flip over to a scene between the chief of police there, or the captain of the CCPD, who's been hanging out with Joe. And she lies to the FBI about the fact that she's supposedly dead, according to her, I guess, spiritual brother. So I thought that was kind of not cool. She lied to the FBI. Next, we see that Barry is in the little safe room there at Star Labs. He's trying to reach out to Wally and other people for help. So they mention Wally, and the computer tells him, oh, Wally is busy meditating and solving the problems of other communities with his meditation or instruction or whatever it is he's doing. So they could explain why he doesn't show up. But the next thing that happens is Iris shows up. She comes into the room and greets Barry, and Barry's like, well, what are you doing here? And she says that the Still Force guy, Dion, was able to stabilize her until they find a cure. I don't know why they introduced this plot. I have a feeling that like Candace Patton was ill or something, and to explain her absence, they came up with this crazy plot about her phasing in and out of time and the Slow Force having to help her, which I don't know. Because they're probably not going to really go back to it. They're probably just going to say, oh yeah, I found a cure. I have this weird feeling. But anyway, you know, meaning that it was just a device to explain why the actor wasn't present. But anyway, she's there. She knows that Bart and Nora have come back from the future, and her and Barry have a moment. It was pretty cool. Next, we flash over to, I'm not entirely sure where, because different Earths don't exist anymore. I guess it's somewhere else on the same Earth. And we get to see Jay Garrick back in the red, gold, and blue. Yes, so psyched about this. The Jay Garrick character is very cool. Of course, John Wesley Shipp is the iconic live-action television Flash from the 90s. And it's always great to see him suit up as the Flash, whichever Flash he is. And I was just glad that he was back, because I was really disappointed when they sidelined the character a season or two ago and they said, oh, he doesn't have his speed anymore and he's got a debilitating condition. I was like, what? That's dumb. No, don't do that. So they brought him back, which is great. They threw in a line where he talks about, oh, thank God I'm not sick anymore or whatever. And he's back in it, man. And I just thought it was great. Even though a moment later he gets taken down by the Godspeeds, who basically hold him hostage. Now, back at Star Labs, everybody agrees that Bart has to stay off the board because it's too dangerous, because they have a particular desire to vanquish him. And nobody wants to see him get hurt. Apparently, Godspeed, the original Godspeed, is his chief nemesis, a Thawne level rogue in his rogues gallery as a hero. So serious stuff. So he is taken off the board. He's not happy about it. He ends up talking to Nora about it, and he drops a massive bomb, which is that I guess by 2049, Godspeed has killed Jay Garrick, who he refers to as Uncle Jay, which is completely unacceptable and better not actually happen, because I will be very annoyed. Anyway, Chester ends up coming up with a device that he believes can neutralize the Godspeeds. And he has Barry charge it because it needs a charge. And Allegra can't charge it because she can't make her powers work for some reason ever since her cousin died, which she hasn't talked about yet at this point. Not that I care tremendously about that plot or that character, but there you go. Barry and Nora end up finding themselves under siege as they're trying to deploy this device against the Godspeeds, and it backfires. It actually makes them stronger. So they end up knocking Nora down, and I think Barry too. He eventually gets up and stands in front of Nora so that they can't hurt her. He's taking the brunt of it. And thankfully, Frost showed up and knocks them down. And they get away. At that point, Barry and Iris tell Nora, you're off the board too. We don't want you getting hurt. She, of course, says, no, that's not happening. I'm going to fight. And you know what? So is Bart. And at that point, Barry wonders if the family is cursed. He's talking to Iris and he says, bad things keep happening. Thawne killed my mother. My father was killed. He's not completely out of the picture. I don't know where he is, but my fight with him isn't done. And so he's just wondering if the family is cursed because these other things keep happening as well to the other members. The Godspeeds then threaten to kill Jay unless they get Bart, unless Bart is handed over to them. So Bart goes to see them to call their bluff, I guess, or confront them about it or whatever, or turn himself over, whatever he's planning to do. And it's an obvious trap that everybody sees coming a mile away, but he goes anyway. And he finds Jay's helmet. And then the Godspeeds show up and they basically throw Jay down on the floor like a sack of potatoes. And Nora and Barry go after him. They show up, where Bart is. And they find him like trussed up like a trophy pig being drained of his speed. And so Barry phases through one of the Godspeeds to stop it. All the Godspeeds are there. And thankfully, Cisco shows up with some, I guess, new tech, and he freezes them while everybody escapes. Now, it's only temporary freeze, of course, but everybody has enough time to escape. Jay, fortunately, wakes up, but they can't wake up Bart, so they carry him back to Star Labs. Bart is in a coma from the attack, and Nora starts to blame herself, but they say to her, it's not your fault, this is all the Godspeed's fault. The team then decides to project Barry's consciousness into August, the original August, who I guess has lost his memory, to try to figure out what his memories are exactly, to learn why the Godspeed War has even started, so they can maybe stop it, because it's just chaos. And of course, he does this without wearing the mask. He's got the suit on, but he's on the slab without the mask on. I guess you have to have contact with the flesh because they put a helmet on it, but then he's not wearing the mask when he goes into the guy's mind, even though it's just his own imagination of what he would look like. It's a construct. I think he got the mask on, but he does it because they don't want him to wear it. Anyway, he finds himself in a throne room where he meets the original August. And he says something menacing, whatever. And that ends part 1 of the 2-part season finale of season 7 of The Flash. Now, I thought that this episode was really epic. This is what a superhero show is supposed to be like. It's certainly supposed to be more like this than it's been. So I don't know why they can't be this good every week. Obviously, they can't have Jay every week. They can't have Nora every week. But like the last few episodes of season have just been bad, I thought. But this was a really good episode, and I'm looking forward to next week big time. So that's that. I'll be back with a review of the season finale once it airs. Until then, I take my leave, and I say, as always, peace and long life.